About masks today.
That's right. The Prime Minister, who was not in the House of Commons yesterday taking lots of flack from MPs who were at one point heard shouting, "Run, Boris, run," was instead 300 miles away in a hospital in Northumbria, where he was pictured walking down the corridors with staff not wearing a mask. Does that send the wrong signal? There he is, meeting some nurses. This is what the head of the NHS Confederation, Matthew Taylor, had to say.
You know, the Prime Minister is an incredibly influential figure, and what he does is important. And I think it was unfortunate that he was seen in a hospital setting not wearing a mask, because I think this hospital, like every hospital, would encourage people to be wearing masks, not just in wards, but in the hospital as a whole. Now, you know, I'm not interested in criticising him individually. It's a tough job being a Prime Minister, but it goes to the fact that we do need a strong message from the centre.
Now, the Northumbria NHS Trust have actually defended the Prime Minister on social media, that he did follow all their infection guidance and wear masks when he went into clinical areas. So when he was pictured entering a ward, he did put a mask on. So they say he followed their guidance. And he was also defended by the Deputy Prime Minister, Dominic Raab.
He followed all the advice and all the guidance that he got at all times, and I think that's the right thing for all of us to do. All I can say is when I go into a setting, just like the Prime Minister, I take the guidance that I'm given, particularly if you're on an official visit, and we follow that very carefully. And I think anyone visiting would do that for whatever the purpose of their visit was.
Would you wear a mask if you went into a hospital?
I'd follow all the guidance very carefully.
It was a stupid thing for him to do.
It
was, though. I mean, seriously, he's in a hospital, he's surrounded by medics. They've all got flipping masks on, and the Prime Minister doesn't put one on. He tucks his tie and he rolls his sleeves up. All he had to do was put a mask on. Well, and then we wouldn't have been talking about it now.
Well, I'm sure you'd have found something else to pick up on.
I would have, but it wouldn't have been this.
OK, well, look, he followed the guidance that was given to him, and I think that's the right thing to do.
And the Prime Minister has taken plenty of criticism, including from Labour's Jonathan Ashworth, who accused him of irresponsibly parading around a hospital without a mask, as well as being, Labour say, too cowardly to turn up to Parliament. The other thing that we are watching out for is the issue of whether NHS staff are going to be made to have mandatory COVID vaccinations, because around 100,000 of them are not vaccinated, we understand.
How many?
100,000.
Wow.
And the government has done a consultation on this, which has just finished. And this is what Dominic Raab had to say about that.
I think it's critically important in those vulnerable settings, care homes and the NHS, that particularly as we go through the winter months, that the vulnerable people there are properly protected. And I think we need to get, by any means necessary, the level of jabs up. We've done well on the double jabs we've got, and the boosters. We've got 10 million across the country. I think we made great strides in care homes and in the NHS setting. The overwhelming number of people, proportion of people in those settings are now jabbed. But I think it's critically important, but for the welfare, the protection of the lives of those people that are under their care.
So we're waiting to see if the government announce they want to go ahead with mandatory vaccinations, which would of course mean that those staff who aren't vaccinated would lose their jobs, as we will be seeing in care homes, and would be very controversial because that the NHS is obviously already having staffing troubles. It will also have to get through Parliament and will probably only come in from April, but we're watching out for that.
OK, tomorrow, thanks so much. Tomorrow's Takes.